I'm here today because of my father. I don't think I ever would have started social media if I wasn't an airline pilot. And I don't know if I would have ever become an airline pilot if it wasn't for my father. I come from a family of pilots, with my grandfather retiring as a pilot, my uncle as a pilot, and as of today, September 18th, my father retiring as an airline pilot. 2 days ago was his 65th birthday. And the significance of turning 65 here in the United States is that is your mandatory retirement age for any airline carrier. And it's crazy to think about because since the day I was born, my dad's been an airline pilot. My entire life, he's been a pilot, and more specifically, an airline pilot. He just retired from American Airlines with 40 years of service, starting at Piedmont, then US Air, US Airways, and now hanging his hat up being an American Airlines captain. And I truly don't know if I would have found aviation and the pathway to aviation if it wasn't for him. And the reason why I'm making this video is, yes, it's a form of documentation. I've always thought of my YouTube channel as just a big library of my life. And sometimes I go back and reference certain videos and certain times in my life, like the day I got Bella. I think that's such a beautiful video for me to go back and visit, as she's now almost 5 years old. And the significance of my father being an airline pilot is because I'll never forget the day that I called him inquiring about being a pilot. I was a freshman in college and I needed some money. And so I did what everyone should do when they need some money, is go get a job. So I got a job at the local airport there in Greenville, North Carolina, at PGV, Pitt Greenville. And I was just I was a line boy. It was a very small flight school called Dillon's Aviation. And I was washing airplanes, polishing airplanes, cleaning out the hangar, dispatching flights, a couple students a day. And being around that atmosphere, it really intrigued me to what aviation was all about. My father never pushed me towards anything. He never really put aviation, being a pilot, on me. He never put me playing baseball or playing golf or wrestling, whatever it might be. He just always let me discover my passions myself, which I thought was a beautiful thing. And being around the aviation scene my freshman year of college, I was like, I kind of want to go try this aviation flying thing. Who knows what this is about? So I called him up and was like, hey, what can I do? How do I get up in the air? How do I see if this is something I like? And more importantly, something that I love. And he told me about a discovery flight, and if you enjoyed it, what you can do from there. And something that I take pride in with this YouTube channel, besides the documentation of my life, is being able to have that guidance that I was blessed with internally within my family, that some of you might not be as fortunate enough to have someone in aviation in your family to look up to and to ask for guidance and for help and point you in the right direction. So all these things that I look back today, whether it's figuring out what a discovery flight is, finding a flight school, if I want to pursue this as a career, if I want to become an airline pilot, different pathways, helping me find an aviation college, a restricted ATP versus a full ATP, what all this meant. And that's something that I really try to do on a daily basis when it comes to producing content, is just providing value. And when I meet so many of you out in public, and you guys tell me about how I help you find your passion in aviation, or I helped you find a flight school, or I helped you just figure out how to get funding for flight training. All these little things that I kind of took for granted. Looking back now, all the value that he provided for me is what I try to reciprocate and provide for you. And the gratitude that so many of you expressed to me, which I'll forever be grateful and have immense amount of gratitude right back at you. It's now making me reflect on everything that he provided to me. And so I had the amazing opportunity to ride on my father's jump seat on his last flight. It was a Destin overnight, and it was something that I'll remember forever because our whole family came together and we all went to Destin together, spent the night. I rode on his jump seat down there, and then I rode on his jump seat back. And it was a really cool thing to not only see the water cannons, which, if you guys aren't familiar, a lot of times when pilots are retiring, the fire department there on the airport property will come out and shoot their water hoses, their water cannons, and the airplane will taxi through it. So I'd seen it before. I'd never been on an aircraft that experiences that. And it was really cool to sit up in the flight deck and not only witness it, but see my dad kind of close out his career in a monumental way, having his family there. And once we pulled up to the gate, there's a big sign saying, "Congrats, Captain Ray." And it was just it was a class act, not only a part of, on the behalf of American Airlines, but everyone that came down with the chief pilot. We had my parents' neighbors, their old neighbors, family, friends, everyone at the gate. So it was such a beautiful experience. And yeah, it's mind-boggling to think that he's been an airline pilot for 40 years. 40 years, my entire life. I'm 31. And since the day I was born, I've just known him as an airline pilot, and something that he's always told me, and I'll never forget about, is how much he loved going to work all the way, every single day up until that last flight. Of course, every job has their ups and downs, and flights cancel, you get stuck, you're away from home an extra day, stuff happens. It's part of working, part of being in the workforce. But he loved going to work every single day. And that's something that I really try and hold on to. And I don't fly as much. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you're taking the position of somebody that would love to be there. I love to have my position as an airline pilot. Being a 737 pilot, I just flew yesterday. Yes, you're correct. I don't fly as much as the average airline pilot does, but that's because I have been fortunate enough to be able to do things like this, or create companies like Atlas, or have investments and other startups, some joint ventures, whatever it might be. Having not only the greatest career in the world, which is strictly just aviation, flying an airplane. I think it's one of the most beautiful things you can do. I truly believe it is the greatest career in the world. Yeah, maybe I'm a little biased towards that, but being able to manipulate my schedule, and if I want to work a whole lot one month, or like yesterday, I wasn't supposed to work the remainder of the month, but I was able to just pick up a turn. I wanted to go flying, I missed it, and I picked up a turn. So things like that is what really makes me love my job even more. And so, long story short, I am making this video not only to say, thank you, Dad. You gave me the guidance, you made the sacrifices for me to not only be in the position now as an airline pilot, but to be able to have this knowledge and pass it along to others. And so I hope I can give you guys the same pathways and guidance that he did. And that's a big reason why I'm here today. And I truly don't know if I would be able to have a social media presence if I never got into aviation. So I pay a lot of appreciation to not only my father, but finding this beautiful passion of aviation and leveraging that into social media. So I know this wasn't the video that you guys thought the comeback video was going to be all about, but it was a beautiful thing to experience the end of a career that went through hell and back. Growing up, seeing catastrophe of 9/11, how it affected the airline industry, as well as millions of other people, but just the pay cuts, the loss in pensions, the mergers, the everything. It was wild to see, but I know it was a wild career, and it's unbelievable to compare what my career has been and just the luck of hitting everything, being hired in 2016 or early 2017 to then being hired here at the major. I felt like I've just been nothing but lucky. Of course, the pandemic I hit and it delayed me coming to the major a little bit longer, but nothing really, it didn't really affect my career as much because hiring was on a pause all across the industry. So I've been nothing but lucky in this industry thus far. So it's been a beautiful thing, and I'm looking forward to the next 34 years of this career, because I just don't see a life without being an airline pilot, part of me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this this video. Not sure I really had any thought going into this, but I just wanted to speak my mind as he just turned 65 and looking back at all the pictures and experiencing riding on the flight deck with him on his last flight. So it's a beautiful thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week. See ya.